All right, what's up, friends? Today we're doing a little test for one of my students. So basically, I'm teaching this person about this test right here, and I want to kind of record myself answering these questions right here because this workbook, which if I can find a link to the actual place I got this from, I'll put this in the description below. If not, then I will give this place some credit. I got this from the STEPS method, which I've been using with my students for the last few years or so, on and off. I've been using more frequently nowadays. And there's a lot of workbooks I got where you're given this list of problems right here, and the goal is to see if you're able to solve these as quickly as possible, which we'll go ahead and get started as well. So here's our setup. We have our questions right here. There are about maybe 11 of these in total. And I will be typing my answers right here. So here's the first one, guys. Now, if you find that this is a little bit challenging to visualize your mind, I do ask you guys to pause the video before I start talking about each problem and to put this on board or recreate this on some online server, if you will. The reason why I don't do this on a server is because of copyright stuff, of course. But other than that, let me go ahead and get started, guys, of course. So we're gonna do this in order, guys, from the first one to the right. That's the first three. The next three right here, so that's six, and so on. And you're more than welcome to work ahead if you feel like you got the first one right. I already did the first one, and I might pause the recording if I'm thinking for longer than uh 10 to 15 seconds or so. But here's the first one right here. And I do like this Cami because I can actually draw on the board right here, guys. So I'll do that right now, actually. So we can grab the right marker and stuff real quick. I'll use red and green, I think. Red for my opponent's moves and green for my own moves right here. All right, cool. So the first move, guys, was queen check right here. So queen on d8. Now, the good thing about the steps method is that it also forces you to know the coordinates as well. It helps with your visualization because you gotta actually think out all these moves yourself and not rely on a online puzzle to help you. This is why I'm not doing this online, is because I want to show you guys on paper why it's better. Uh, Now after king runs right here to b7, it's really tempting to go queen check, so queen b8 check, but pause the video. Can you guys see why queen b8 check does not work? If you said queen takes on b8, you're right. So this is why it's so important not just to jump at the first thing you see. And you did saw the answer on the letter page I had up right there, but let me just kind of go back a step real quick. There we go. So after king to b7, the correct move, guys, here was actually knight to a5 right here. The knight attacks the square, and the queen covers these other squares. I'm putting X's on as well. Not to mention the back rank as well too. And the pawn controls this square. So knight a5 was the answer, and how you write down your sheet of paper, guys. And I do challenge you guys to write out your answer because, again, and if you do go to a chess tournament, you're forced to sit down and write out your moves for your opponent and for yourself. It's going to really help you guys be able to calculate and not have to think about writing down the coordinates. It's going to really help you guys to um, master that skill, because for a lot of kids, they find themselves thinking a lot about how to write out a certain coordinate, and that takes energy, it takes effort, and that causes you not to be perfect about your analysis. This is why it's so important to do it on paper like this. All right, that's position one. Let's go ahead and go down to position two real quick. Now I did the first one off camera just to see if I was going to do this on the recording or not. I am going to do the rest of these um right now, essentially. And just so I don't be talking for about an hour or so, I'm going to time myself as well too. You're not going to see my timer, but it's going to be on my watch. Let's just say I'm going to give myself no more than, oops, about to mess up. I was going to say 15 minutes. So 1 second as I correct this real fast. There we go. All right, so about 15 minutes. I have 60 on my watch, but you get the point. So I'm gonna time myself. I'm gonna give myself 15 minutes to do this. Of course, if you guys want to learn this and not feel rushed, it's probably better not to time yourself in this, but it might be good as well because you can kind of see how fast you're recognizing the patterns, how fast you're able to double check your answers, and stuff like that. And I'm not going to count the time it takes me to write this down. I'm only calculating or timing the time it takes me to look for the answer. All right. All right, let's go to our next one. I'm gonna go ahead and erase the board real quick. There you go. Gosh, that's a really horrible eraser sound, guys. I apologize. Now, as I'm calculating, I'm not going to be writing anything down until I'm sure I know the exact answer. So I'm gonna just going to do this real quick then. Notice how gas is black to move right here. So now we're playing from black's point of view. And sometimes these puzzles is really helpful to know what your opponent can do to you and not just what you could do to your opponent yourself. So that's why it's important to look at the board both ways, forwards, backwards, sideways, up and down. This really matter. Okay, so when I'm looking at these positions, I'm always checking the checks, pun intended. And I do see that we have, oh, so this is something that's interesting. We're in check right now. So unlike online, online it's not going to tell you, hey, Bozo, you're in check right now. So the knight right here on, so this is from white's point of view, knight on b6 is attacking our king on a8. We could move our king out of danger, but the more advanced answer, guys, is actually going to be queen takes on b6. And that's going to be my answer because if white takes our queen on b6, they will be back rank checkmated after rook to h1, queen blocks on g1, and then rook takes on g1 mate in that sequence. So basically, black gains a whole other piece right here. Now, before we make that move, we got to also double check to make sure that we're not going to get back rank checkmate ourselves because notice how our black king is also on the back rank too. So after queen takes on b6, white does have a turn. So part of your calculation is also thinking about not just what you just did, but also try and think of your opponent's best move. This is something I know for myself I always need to work on, especially if you're thinking about a really good attack and you're so sure it's going to work, right? Like, oh my gosh, this attack's going to be awesome, right? And you don't factor in your opponent's best defense. So your offense, guys, is only as good as your defense. Because if you never saw queen f8 check, you might run into a back rank checkmate yourself. Now, in that situation, we can afford to sacrifice our knight if necessary. So knight c8 is the move I'm talking about right there to block the check. And then life goes on from there, guys, of course. So basically, here's the whole situation, guys, right here. I wish I could make this a little bit better, but we'll try our best, guys. Of course, the best production quality, guys, for the best viewers. So queen takes on b6 is our main line. And I guess I'll go ahead and pause the timer as well real quick because I'm not going to count the time it takes me to type this up. You might be wondering what's behind my head, by the way. It's a isobutane canister. I do a lot of hiking as well. Not to distract you guys. So queen takes on b6 is our main line. The point is that black is taking advantage of white's back rank weaknesses. Here's the first line we'll look at. If, let's see, move 2, queen takes on b6, question mark, because after queen takes on b6, it's a double question mark because it's a blunder, basically. So after queen takes on b6, I'll go ahead and draw the arrows, guys, real quick so you guys can see this. I also forgot that I'm using Zoom to record this. I can always use my Zoom annotation tools if I need to as well, but I'll just use this for right now. So our move is queen takes on b6. Their move is going to be queen takes on b6, which is a blunder because, again, of rook to h1. So rook h1 check. The queen has to block. And then rook takes on g1 is going to be GG mate. That's the first line. So after move 1, queen takes on b6, white's only try for compensation, I'll just say. And compensation means you know you're losing. You don't want to lose as hard as you are right now. So for compensation, they only try for compensation, if I remember correctly. I forget the square. Don't have the best memory, guys, in the world. So let me go back for a second. So after queen takes on b6, I said earlier that this move right here, which was queen f8 check, attacks the king. We have to block the check, unfortunately, so we're going to lose our knight in the process, but at least we don't get back rate checkmate ourselves. So after queen f8, so white's only try for compensation is move to queen f8 check, and black is forced to give back some material to avoid back rank checkmate themselves. And I'll put the move in parentheses as well, which is move number 2, which is going to be knight to c8, like I said earlier. Which, as you get stronger in chess, you'll be able to see all this in your mind. I had to go back and forth to the puzzle or the book, essentially. It's the same skill you'll use when you're reading a book. You don't have to like look at the page necessarily to remember what you just read. You could just remember that in the back of your mind. All right, guys, so position 3. Let's go ahead and turn back on our dear friend timer. You got 12 minutes until we're done with this, of course. And I forgot to tell you guys earlier when to pause the video, so I apologize as well. I'll do that right now. So before I start thinking about this, if you want, go ahead, pause the video. You're about to start talking about puzzle 3, which involves, well, it's black to move right here, of course. So go ahead, pause. I hope you guys did pause. I'm going to start thinking about this myself. It's black to move. All right, so I'm always thinking about the checks we can give in the position. So the first one I see is rook f1 check. Notice how when rook f1 happens, the white king can't take the rook because of the bishop on c4. And I guess I should probably double check, make sure I'm not in check as well. So I'm not in check myself, which is good. So after, I just want to, I want to make sure. I don't want to like jump to conclusions. All right. So after king to h2 is the only legal move, the question is going to be, well, how do we continue the attack from here? And that's actually a good question. So rook f1, king to h2, sidesteps the danger. I think I see the idea. Now, I wonder if it's necessary to go rook f1 check first, because I actually see a better move right here, which again, part of the skill set you will learn as a chess player is going to be process elimination, comparison, um, weighing the merits of this plan versus that plan under time pressure. And I don't want to spend too long belaboring the point, but I think it's something better here for black, which is actually bishop to d5. This forks the knight on e4 with the rook on b7. And there's no way for the rook to defend the knight, which is so the bishop takes knight is an equal piece. So if the rook could come down and defend the knight, that would be ideal, but it's not possible. The knight could defend the rook by going knight to d6, but we'll still take the rook because we're now up the exchange. So basically, after bishop to d5, forking the two pieces, the best that white can do is by playing knight to d6. We'll take the rook on b7, and after knight takes back, let's look at the material count real quick. I mean, it looks. I'm bad at counting, guys. I apologize for pausing. I'm really bad at counting. Oh my gosh. Um, so after we take that piece back on b7, and after white takes the piece back on b7 as well, white does not have a rook no more, so they have a bishop for the rook. So they're now down the exchange right here, essentially. All right, let's go ahead and put that on paper, guys, real quick, and I'll show you guys this on the board, I guess right now, to double check my handiwork. And again, this is a skill I think in school people need to be taught more often, which is you're given the option of giving this check first. We can still play, by the way, rook f1 check right here. I think it's not going to lead to problems. I don't think it will. Actually, it will. I think it will lead to problems. I see the difference right now, and I wish I could have maybe have verbalized that difference before I drew the arrow, because now I see it. So after rook f1, so if you're thinking to yourself, oh, it doesn't make any difference, the devil's in the details. Oh my gosh, this is why chess can be both very beautiful and also very frustrating as well. Oh my gosh, here's the difference right here, guys. All right, so we go ahead and grab my red marker. Like I said, king's forced to go to h2. And you might be wondering, well, after king h2, can I do the exact same thing right here, which is to play bishop to d5, once again forking the two pieces right here? And isn't white just forced to play knight d6 to defend? Well, my good sir or ma'am who's watching this, go ahead, pause the video, and try and test yourself to see. I want to make sure I pause my timer as well, because this doesn't count as my time right here, of course. Go ahead, pause the video to see if you guys can figure out why is rook f1 and then bishop d5 not correct right here. Drink some water real quick as well. Reason why, guys, is if bishop to d5 in this position, our rook is on f1, and so the knight has the chance to go to play knight to d2. So now their rook is under attack, and so is our rook. In that situation, I guess we could try and play rook to d1 in that situation. So basically, that situation, the knight's hanging, but so is their rook. So if we take their rook, oh, sorry, no, let me back up for a second. I'm getting a little bit confused. Calculation's kind of hard, guys. So rook f1, king h2, bishop d5, knight d2. If rook d1, it's now white to move. Gonna have to visualize for a second. I should put this on timer because I gotta work on this myself, which is visualizing a few moves in advance, especially when I have to go like back and forth between whose move is it and whatnot. Right. So it's white to move. The bishop's on d5, not on c4 currently, guys. So don't freak out. So knight takes bishop on c4 is not possible because Bishop's already on d5, for those who are still keeping up with the analysis right here. So, right, rook d1. It's white to move. I mean, white could choose to save their rook. I don't think that's wise. So rook d1. So basically, gosh, I'm really drawing a blank right here. Okay, I see. So after rook to d1, I was thinking to myself, and this is why it's so important to always look at your checks, captures, and threats and sacrifices. I want to thank Mike Callahan for teaching that to me, or not teaching it to me, but at least making it part of my normal vocabulary, guys. So follow me for a second. After, I can go ahead and pause the timer as well, because I think I got this right. So after rook d1, and the knight's on d2, by the way, and in that position, black's bishop is still attacking the rook on b7, but it's now white to move. So white would give a check right here. Rook b8 check. It's critical because after the king moves or blocks whatever, then they can save their knight and everything's good at that point. They can play knight to b3, knight to f3, and be safe right there. So basically, guys, if you thought that playing rook f1 and then playing bishop d5 was going to be good, it's not the case. And it's definitely a case of assuming that your good plan is going to work in a different situation. Chess is playing that kind of way where that one key difference, the rook being on a different square. So I'll show you guys the difference real quick before we go on to our next puzzle. Can't do the thing. I can't do the thing. I used to have a smart board for those who knew me in person. I used to have a smart board where if you do a circle like this and then click in the center, it will just erase everything. But I'm mistaken right here, unfortunately. Oops. All right. Old fashioned way, real quick. All right, there we go. Yeah, so in this position, guys, after bishop to this square right here, there's no knight move that can attack our rook. That's the key difference right there. So, I mean, this move, he'll be taken immediately by the rook or pawn. And this move, like I said, he's too far away to attack the rook in that situation, clearly. So that's why, that's the key difference right there. So let me go ahead and put this on our thing. Coach Morton, you should have been typing as you were talking. Now we gotta wait for you to like catch up. I'm sorry, guys. So bishop d5 forks the knight on e4 and the rook on e7. White's best continuation would be move to knight to dash d6. Yeah, knight d6. Bishop takes on b7, and then move 3, knight takes on b7, and being happy, not bowing, being happy with down the exchange. Okay. It is important to note that this same forking idea won't work in another situation where black first plays move 1, rook f1 check, which I'll give a question mark because it's a good idea And it will work in most situations, but in that position, it doesn't work because so it's important to note that this same forking idea won't work in a situation where black first plays rook f1 check. This is because if, so this is what, move 2 for black. So, because if move 2, bishop to d5, then white has the amazing resource of move 3, knight, let's see, f1, e1, d1, knight d2. I had to remember the square real quick, which attacks black's rook. Black can maintain equality, but lose the winning advantage by playing the following. So after move 3, knight d2, so move 3 for black, knight, sorry, not knight, rook d1, move 4, rook b8 check, and after black moves, white can safely save both pieces, as you guys saw earlier. So, chess can be a quite difficult thing, guys, to do. Right now we have a little less than 7 minutes. We'll keep going. Hope you guys are enjoying the analysis so far. Hope it's gonna hold you guys' attention. But the main thing, guys, is not rushing the process. You'll see people do problems online like Puzzle Rush Survival, Puzzle Racer, and those are great, but it's not going to teach you guys patience, how to double check your work, how to do the deep work, if you will. And especially for school, a lot of times kids, I'm talking to the middle schools and high schoolers out there, they like to write down a quick answer thinking it's good enough. It's not good enough, guys. And chess is one of those games where you can't afford to be sloppy by making fast, irrational decisions. You're gonna have to be really objective right here for all the reasons. All right, let's go ahead and erase this real quick. Go ahead and scroll down as well. And we will check the answers, guys, later as well. Trust me, there is an answer key online that I'll pull up as well before we wrap up. So don't think that my answers are just the golden answers. If you want to stick around towards the end, I will show you guys the answer key for this particular test. So stay tuned for details. All right, enough talking, enough stuff real quick. All right, go ahead and start the timer again. All right, notice how right here, guys, there's no black circles. So it's now white to move right here. So go ahead and let you guys pause the video to think on your own, of course. I think I see the idea. I'm just gonna have to double check my answer real quick. All right, so I hope you guys might be thinking to yourself, Coach Morton, you go too fast. Well, I mean, pattern recognition, guys. If it's gonna take you guys this long to find the answers, you gotta do a lot more studying then. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the timer because I already see the answer. The move here, guys, is knight to b5, which forks the queen on c7 and the bishop on d6. So the first line, the queen moves somewhere. Actually, it's a little bit more tricky than that because so follow me for a second. So knight b5. If the queen goes to c6, you cannot play knight takes on d6 because of queen takes on a4, and now you lose your queen. So you have to play in that situation. Bishop takes on d6 and retreat the bishop once the rook moves somewhere. and then play knight back to c3, protecting your queen in the process. I'll show you guys what that looks like in 1 second. Now, knight b5, the only other move that's a little bit tricky as well is going to be bishop to c6, which pins the knight to the queen. So again, if we move our knight, we lose our queen on a4 because the bishop takes now on that square. But I'm still trying to decide between if I do move my knight or if I do move at all, where should I go? So knight b5, bishop c6. I think bishop takes on d6 is a mistake because of the intermezzo. Bishop takes on b5, and so both queens are now hanging. And after we take their bishop and they take our bishop, material guys, I think is balanced in that situation. We can count that 1 second, but I think after knight b5, bishop c6, bishop takes on d6, bishop takes on b5. So both queens are hanging. If we take their queen, they'll take our queen, and we both emerge with the same material. So after knight b5 and bishop c6, it has to be a knight move next. Otherwise, we don't gain the full fruits of the position. So we do take the queen on c7. They have to take our queen, otherwise they're down a lot of material. So bishop takes on a4. In that position, because the knight has another capture, I mean, we could take the bishop as well. I mean, this is a case where we're kind of spoiled for choice here. We could take the rook in the corner, so knight takes on a8, for instance, and after bishop takes, well, no. So knight takes on a8, so bishop takes on g3 first, and only then do they take the knight in the corner. So you get the exchange essentially. So I think in that situation, it's probably better to take the bishop on d6 first, take the free piece, attack both rooks, and whichever rook moves, you take the other one. So I'll show you guys this right now, and then I'll write this up real quick. So it only took me about 45 seconds to analyze that real quick. So our move, guys, is knight b5, attacks the queen and the bishop. And like I said earlier, if queen c6, we have to play in this position, bishop takes on d6, this attacks the rook. I didn't voice this in my initial analysis, but in this position, after bishop takes on d6, if they were to play a move like pawn to this square, like pawn to a6, which again attacks our knight and stuff, we had to first take the rook in the corner, because we're going to gain the exchange once this move clears. They could take us, so pawn takes here. We can take back. Well, no. We can't take back because the queen's on c6. We have to move our queen somewhere important. Like let's say queen to c2. I guess I should be analyzed this as well. Here we go. I'll let my timer run for a second. So let's say queen c2. After queen c2, then rook takes on. So I'll go ahead and draw the arrow, or king takes. But let's just say rook takes the bishop right here. When the smoke clears, basically we have a queen, they have a queen. We have a light square bishop, they have a light square bishop. We have a knight, they have a knight. We have a rook, they have a rook. But they have a knight, we have a rook. So we have to exchange in that continuation right there, guys. If I've, said that pretty convincingly right there. Of course, we could check our answer later. But we go ahead and raise the board. Okay, so knight b5. Again, same idea. I'm just making sure I didn't like miss anything dumb. Hey, bishop takes on d6 first, but I think this is still fine. Yeah, knight b5, attacks both those pieces. Let's say they play in this situation bishop to c6. Well, like I said earlier, we're going to have to play in this position. And this is why it's so important to remember your variations, guys. We had to first play knight takes on c7, attacking the queen, getting the most material as we can. And after bishop takes on this square, they're forced to do so. Then we play bishop takes on d6, and we're attacking this rook and that rook as well. And we're guaranteed to win something else as well, folks. Let's put this on the board, guys, real quick. Position 4. Knight to b5 forks the queen on c7 and the bishop on d6. A possible continuation could be queen to c6, move 2, bishop takes on d6, not move 2, knight takes on d6, because we lowercase, because we hang our queen on a4. So bishop takes on d6, a6, a6, move 3, bishop takes on f1, oh sorry, f8, and then a takes on b5, and white is up the exchange, essentially. Oops. Now, a stronger variation for our opponent would be move 1, bishop to c6, like I said earlier, because you're pinning a weaker piece. You're going to attack the queen with a weaker piece, essentially. You're pinning the knight to the queen with a weaker piece, and that's way more valid for black for that reason. So, because you are pinning with the weaker piece here, in that situation, I think I said white is still doing quite fine by playing move 2, knight takes on c7, bishop takes on a4, move 3, bishop takes on d6, and no matter what black does, white can expect to take a rook next. All right, folks, I think I got that right. a4 for the queen, yep. Make sure I didn't mess it up as well. So we'll go ahead and back. And just because this video's been going on pretty long, I got other things to do today. We're gonna finish with, you'll hear a tree in the background, guys, by the way, too. Usually they do a better job of kind of warning people about this. So I'm not gonna pause this. You're gonna have to just deal with it for a second. All right, people. So we're gonna do this the next two back to back to kind of save some time. Oop, I forgot to pause my timer. So I'm gonna give myself in this situation 3 minutes to do both of these real quick because I forgot to pause the timer earlier. All right. So go ahead, pause the video if you want to do this yourself, of course. The next one's black to move, and the last one's white to move. Oh, yeah, I was already thinking about white to move right here, and I realized it's actually black to move right here for the first one. Whoops. Black to move. What can we do here, folks? Okay, so I see the idea. There's a discover attack that we can make right here, guys. You might be saying, Coach Morton, you don't give us enough time to think about this stuff. Well, I'll say my answer and then I'll go to the next one to kind of keep the ball rolling, guys, of course. Knight g4 threatens mate on h2. You can stop mate by playing pawn to g3, or even knight g3 for that matter, or by playing pawn f4. There's a lot of ways to do it, but regardless, after knight to g4 is a double attack because you can't stop both attacks. After knight g4, bishop takes on b2 is black's next move, and we gain a piece in that little adventure right there, guys. The rook has to move somewhere, and we will retreat the bishop once that happens, of course. So that's that one right there. And then for the next one, guys, real quick, white to move. Is it going to be just rook takes on e7? Is that the move, guys, we're making right here? Rook takes on e7 because the rook on e7 is attacking the king and the queen on the same line. So it's like a skewer. King's forced to move, and the king moves. We take the queen next. That's bad. So after rook takes on e7, rook takes on e7 for black. And when the rook takes on e7, it leaves the other rook hanging. So we take that rook, and now we up a piece. Easy peasy, guys. So I mean, the first one was actually kind of hard. I'm not even gonna lie. Like this one up here is actually kind of hard. Um, yeah, this one right here, the first one was actually kind of hard to be honest. All right, let me go ahead and write up those answers, guys, real quick, and then we will check our answers online. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. So puzzle, because I want to make sure you guys can see that I'm doing this before I check the answers. I did all this work. I wouldn't do all this work and I knew all our answers already. So, don't think that I'm just, cheating right here. So it was black to move in that one. So knight g4 is a double, come on now, is a double attack. Black is threatening mate on h2 and the unprotected bishop on b2. After white chooses a way to defend, black will gladly take the free piece and be winning. Huzzah. To the point, guys. I mean, that one's pretty cut and dry. And then for position 6, guys, real quick. Move 1, if I remember correctly, was rook takes on e7. And, oh my gosh. And white is attempting to skewer the black king to his queen. Black is therefore forced to play move 1, rook takes on e7, and then move 2, queen takes on, what was the square again? I forget the exact square, g8. And be up a minor piece here. All right, people. So I'm going to pause recording for 1 second so I can go online and find this thing real quick. And then when I come back, we're going to check these answers out together, guys, real quick. So stand by for details. Oops. Actually, this is what I'll do instead. I'm going to keep the recording going just so you guys can see I'm actually doing this legitly, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. You can see my beautiful face for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and do this way. I think it'd be a little bit better. All right, so because I don't want to show you guys where I get the answers from. Because, I mean, I feel like that'd be kind of cheating for all my students out there. So you're gonna have to just suck it up, folks. Sorry. All right, workbook answers. This is workbook 2 extra. What edition is this right here, by the way? I think this is the 4th edition. I got the book right next to me, guys, by the way, so just keep that in mind. They don't really tell you what edition this is right here on the freaking cover. I'm gonna guess that this is the 4th edition. I mean, it has to be, I mean, I bought this recently. Oh gosh. Okay, so all right, give me a second to pull this up real quick, guys. All right, cool. So this is the test A specifically. Blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Boo, huh, huh. All right, this is page 47. Let's keep going down real quick. Page 47. I knew that the first time, guys. I knew that the first time. All right, so here is the answers. I'm gonna make sure I don't see the other ones real quick. So I only got down to answer. We'll have to just see the next one, unfortunately. So go ahead, share my screen. So you have to see the number 7 answer for like a better choices right here, folks. I see. Where's my webcam at? Oh my gosh. Not sure if my recording is cooperating or not, but I'm just gonna keep talking for 1 second regardless. So as you guys can see right here, here is my answer. I wish I could have paused this right here, guys, but we'll make it work, guys, for sure. Hope I wasn't just talking here to myself this whole time and only then realize that here you go. All right, the first one, as you guys can see, Queen D8, King B7, Knight A5, Queen D8, King B7, Knight A5. Yep, and they also had that variation there too. So the workbook, they don't mess around. They'll give you both variations as well, or likely answers. And yeah, so I got that one right there. Second one, let's just read this real quick. So queen takes on b6 is our main line, and I said originally that if queen takes on b6, rook takes on, oh, sorry, rook h1 check, queen g1, and then rook g1's mate. And then, like I said before, if we do take on b6, then white, or sorry, yeah, white has to go for compensation essentially. So queen takes on b6, king b8. That doesn't make any sense. So king b8 and queen d6 is mate. Oh, I see. So if we were to play king b8 in that last example, guys, then we get checkmated essentially. So I'll go there real quick to show you guys. So basically, if we move our king to the right, then um, queen d6 is checkmate right here because the knight, you can't run to that square because the knight's there, of course. All right, so that's good to know. So we avoided a checkmate threat essentially, while also giving our own. All right, number 3, real quick. Bishop d5 was the move right here, and let's see if they what they did right here. Of course, I really hope I didn't lose my recording. That'll really suck. If we did, then whatever. I mean, hey, it's still good for our own practice, guys, for sure. So, bishop d5, rook takes on b6, and then bishop takes on e4. Okay, so they took the pawn right there. All right, they did not explore rook f1 check in that situation, but I'll always show you guys that one essentially. All right, number 4, real quick. Knight b5 forks the queen. That was the one I was talking about. Knight b5. They did chose the queen c6 line, the first one I chose, and yeah, bishop takes on d6 specifically, and not the other move. All right, cool. All right, number 5. Knight g4 is a double attack. That one was pretty simple. Knight g3, like I said, and bishop takes on b2, discover attack. A double attack as well because you can't defend the mate and the bishop on b2, guys. As you know, next one, easy. Rook takes on e7 check, rook takes at e7, and then queen takes on g8. Eliminate the defense and luring away material. All right, people. You want to see the workbook answers right there, of course. So there you go. I mean, I'll keep solving these right here just for my own personal gain, of course. But hope you guys found this helpful doing it this way. If you guys like this a lot, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you will see more hopefully later. Now, how in the world do I end this recording real quick? Gosh. I have to restart my computer, unfortunately.